Next up is Yorgos Lanthimos' Bugonia. Des, was Bugonia good, bad, or mid?
Bugonia was bad. What do you think?
Bugonia was good.
Oh God!
It was good to mid. Good to mid.
No, it was a bad
It was a
film.
good movie. I enjoyed it.
No, 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 no,
I
no,
enjoyed
no.
it.
I
And
strongly dislike this movie.
you know that I'm not a Yorgos Lanthimos. I
Yes,
wouldn't
you
even describe myself
are.
as a fan.
D, stop lying. Stop
I'm not
lying.
a
Stop
fan.
lying. I've come to
I'm
the
pissed at
conclusion
him.
you are. No, stop it. You're a stan. You're not even a fan. You're a stan.
No.
I used to wonder, is it that she's just open to him sometimes the way I am, for example, with Luca Guadagnino? But I've come to the conclusion, no, 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 you're a stan of this man. You
Do you know that
genuinely
I
like
can't?
have a special amount of love for his work. Because for you to watch, and it's Begonia that has confirmed that for me, because for you to watch this movie and have this reaction, that means you love this man. You're a
We'll
stan
get
of
into it.
his.
Begonia was good. One of the reasons why I liked it so much is because the whole time I was watching the movie, all I could think was, wow, is this basically Lanthimos telling us to free Mangione? Is this a free Mangione campaign? And I was kind of into it. The movie really does criticize Emma Stone's character, Michelle Fuller, and we see how grotesque she is and how, regardless of what her genetic makeup is, she is still not human, at least, because she's so cruel and callous, and I really enjoyed that commentary. I had low expectations of this movie going in because I'm no Lanthimos fan, but
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop these
I thought
lies,
it was
D.
well executed.
Stop these
However, it
lies.
is a
You were
remake, so
you were gagging when you watched that trailer. You did not
because I
have
like the
low
style.
expectations. Because you're a yoga stan. So you were excited to see more from your fave.
What other Lanthimos movie do I like?
You like kind of kindness.
I didn't say I liked it. I just thought it was interesting.
Let me tell you something, D. Even if you hated every single thing that this man has ever done, and you told me you like this movie, I would still call you a stan. Because to like this movie, you must be a stan of this man. But we'll get into why I
Let's
think
get
this
into
movie is
it.
so despicable. So let's talk about the narrative and the story of Bugonia. The synopsis is that two conspiracy obsessed young men kidnap the high powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she's an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. The way the story rolls out, basically, you have Emma Stone playing Michelle, Jesse Plemons playing Teddy, and Aidan Delbis playing Don. And at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to the characters. Don and Teddy kidnap Michelle, who is a girl boss pharmaceutical CEO. They keep her in their basement. They shave her head. They tell her that she needs to reveal the plans of her alien species. She keeps on telling them, you're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. We find out that there is a manhunt for her going on. A local police officer, Casey, who knows Teddy, goes to check in with him. Eventually, Casey gets killed. Teddy gets more and more desperate. He attacks her a couple of times. She convinces him that she can save his mom, who it turns out is a victim of a pharmaceutical trial that her company was doing. And she gives him antifreeze to go and pump into her IV, which he then proceeds to do, and she obviously dies. There's also a scuffle, and Dawn dies in the process. Teddy comes back, all sorts ensues. Michelle manages to manipulate Teddy into decapitating himself, basically. And at the end of the film, it's revealed that she was an alien this whole time, and she runs out
Mm-hmm.
from an ambulance to go and join her fellow aliens, overlords, to pop the bubble on top of the flat Earth and basically like send all of humanity into a comatose stroke death state.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of the film.
The reason why I like this movie is because,
There's Stan.
one, as we said during trailer watch, you already called it that we know she's going to be an alien, right? So I was just watching, waiting for the big reveal, right? So this is predictable. But what I came to love about it, or like about it throughout the movie, is that it's basically an ethical dilemma where you're trying to work out who do you feel sorry for in this situation. There are really strong commentaries, probably a bit too much on the nose commentaries, about environmentalism, about class, and about dehumanization and how that is used to basically abuse people. And that really worked on me, and I was not expecting it for a man that is like Teddy's character, that is basically an incel. He's a danger to society usually in real life. I don't feel sorry for these sorts of men. I definitely don't feel sorry for them when I see them on screen abusing somebody who's looking like a woman, who's presenting as a woman. So the fact that this movie was able to make me feel sorry for him.
No, you say the alien is
Yeah,
presenting.
she's presenting as a woman. She's lying to us. But the fact that this movie had me feeling sorry for Teddy, I was like, I have to give this some credit. I have to, because I don't normally care for these sorts of men. I know that sounds callous, but it's true. What do you think?
Trust me, there's nothing you said that can be more callous than what I'm about to say. I think I've come to the origin of why you and I so strongly differ in this film. You said that you knew she was always going to be an alien, but that didn't bother you because early on you were just kind of like being taken on a different journey from the film. Because I knew that was going to be revealed, it made everything about the film feel mundane and unserious to me and like you were dragging your feet.
Mm.
I was just watching it and I was like, girl, okay, when exactly is she going to reveal herself? And through what means are they going to do it? It happens in the last 5 minutes and I wasn't gagging. At that point, I was pissed off and I wanted to go back to bed. Now, part of the problem is I was watching these movies at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and I am not a morning person. I want to talk about what you just said about Teddy and feeling sorry for him. That's another very important reason why you and I diverge in our opinions of this movie. Not only did I not feel sorry for that man, I was actively rooting for his downfall. And by extension, oh yes, very, very actively rooting for his downfall. Because I don't care for male characters like this. And this is again I believe all film criticism was always going to be personal, so I don't really shy away from that. It is a thing that I personally have, that I don't respond well to these quote unquote anarchist style people, especially the white male ones, who start talking about how they've walked from every edge of the political spectrum. Like, oh yeah, I was a Bernie Sanders leftist, then I was a libertarian, then I was alt-right, then I was MAGA, then I was centrist, then I was this, because all they always tells me that it reflects that they don't actually care about anything. All they want to do is to feel anti-establishment just for the sake of it. Or they feel just generally isolated from society, or they feel like society has quote unquote moved on for them. So they're just clinging on to something that makes them feel like they can give a middle finger to the world. As if the rest of us don't struggle with all the confines society puts us in, but we don't have the privilege of like basically perpetually throwing a tantrum about it, have people constantly writing think pieces about how do we understand this demographic? How do we reach out to them politically? I don't have patience for it. There's a very particular segment of the white working class in the United States that have been the victims of like a lot of opiate addiction in like Appalachia and stuff like that. And I feel like Teddy and his mom represent those kind of people. You know who else represents that? J.D. Vance. So I am not a fan of trying to soften up the image of these kind of men, because to me they are very deeply dangerous. Because you see a JD Vance, he has the same backstory. Oh, my mom was an addict. I used to be a left winger. I used to be this. I have a brown wife. But then, oh, can you believe, because the pharmaceuticals companies did this to me, that's why I became a white supremacist. That's why I took Peter Thiel's billions of dollars from the same corporations I'm supposedly always critiquing to become like the leader of the establishment myself, freaking vice president of the United States, and be spewing white supremacist talking points. And I'm supposed to be moved by your same sad tale. I tend to recoil from this kind of storylines. And because Yorgos is a white man, I don't trust his intention with trying to frame this kind of character as a sympathetic character. I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I do disagree though. And the reason why I disagree is because I was reading this whole thing as a strong class commentary. I will say you missed the girl boss of it all for Emma Stone in the beginning, and I think that is important because she's so egregious with it. The movie shows you reasons to hate Emma Stone, and then it shows you reasons to hate Teddy, and it goes backwards and forwards. And the whole point of the movie is basically an exercise in ethics, is to show us that at any point you can spin a narrative to dehumanize either of these people, and they do it in the movie, which I think is quite clever. I agree with everything you said for these men in real life. The reason why the character of Teddy works for me is because we see that he's struggling economically. Then we also see that he's taking care of his mom. And the third part is he's now in some ways responsible for his cousin Don, who is depicted as someone who's quite severely autistic and is probably reliant on his cousin to survive, right? All of what you said applies in real life. But I think in this movie, it is important for us to understand the weight on his shoulders. The reality is I'm a black woman, and I agree with what you're saying. We have our own confines in society, but I don't have that level of strain on me. I do know people who do, and it's not pretty. So for me, when I saw it on screen, it did resonate with me, and I was like, damn, like actually I feel bad for you in some ways. And because they hype up, and I think Emma Stone does a good job of this, she hypes up the girl boss of it all. She's completely callous and she gets worse throughout the movie as well. Typically, I'd be rooting for the woman here. And as we said in Trailer Watch as well, I don't like seeing women being brutalized on TV. And one of my critiques is that I'm tired of Lanthimos using this as a way to do his storytelling.
Always with the same woman as
With the same woman as well. It's getting boring. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's getting suspicious.
It's getting boring. But yeah, long story short, I think she did a really good job of coming across as grotesque, even when she's using the language that people who are in my circumstances typically use. So she starts using therapy speak. And for it to basically present elements of my personality back to me on screen and feel disgusted by it, I thought that worked for me for some reason.
I should add some context. All the criticism I just gave of the Teddy character and my issues with attempting to quote unquote humanize this kind of characters should not at all shield from how grotesque I consider Michelle to be. And actually, I kind of enjoyed Emma Stone's performance in the grotesquerie of it all. And I understand that that character is supposed to be repulsive. If anything, that is actually still part of my problem in this film. It's unsubtle. She's almost cartoonish to me, actually, sometimes. And I didn't care about anything going on in this show. I think that's another very important thing I need to add. I always say this, and it sounds like I'm saying I need to like someone to care about a film or a character. That's not true. I just need to believe in you, like believe that this character makes sense. And these people, there was a level of just ridiculousness going on here, and just like despicable levels of stupidity and insanity that I was just like, I don't care. Like, reveal she's an alien and let's wrap this up. Yes.
I feel like people like Michelle exist in real life. For sure. 100%. I've met some.
100%. D, if anything, you and I, we have experienced specific traumatic experiences with middle management, awful girl bosses.
Yep.
It should hit with me, but it doesn't. Now, I do think I have some biases here in the, like, as I've said before, there's something about the way Emma Stone performs. Even though I understand that technically speaking, she's giving well-studied performances, I have not been able to find the flesh and the humanity in these performances in years and years, and especially when she's working with Yorgos. There's something sterile I get from her performances, and this character is supposed to be sterile.
It's supposed to be sterile, yeah.
But so my critique is not the character sterility. There's something about the actual performance that I feel like I'm watching Emma Stone putting on a performance. I'm not watching the character. And I'm not just saying this about this Bugonia film. I felt that about Poor Things. When everybody was gagging about her Poor Things performance, I was like, I feel like I'm watching an actress playing a role. I don't feel like I'm watching a character. So this is like just a recurring concern I have with the way Yorgos directs her. With Jesse Plemons, his performance felt more organic to me. I do think he disappeared into the character more for me. But again, the character just seemed so bewilderingly insane. Like, it was taking me out. And I get it. His character is supposed to be unstable. His character is supposed to be this. His character is traumatized. I get it. But you injecting antifreeze into your mother's IV drip, please, I cannot take this film seriously. Like, I
thought it was excellent. It worked for me. No. I want to add something very quickly to your comments on Teddy's character, and then I'll get into Jesse Plemons. I get all of what you're saying about the way how men like Jesse Plemons are dangerous in real life, and I totally agree. I do think that Lanthimos made a deliberate choice to show us Teddy going to work alongside a black woman and trying to speak life into her. And I think he did that to counter your critique.
It didn't
I think
work
he saw
on
it
me.
coming and he was trying to counter it.
I don't trust Yorgos. I think that's the thing. I'm not treating him in good faith, to be fair, which maybe is a bit unfair to him. But like, already my level of tolerance for his antics is so low, so he had to really subvert all my expectations for me to give him that, and he didn't for me. Like, everything about this movie was exactly what I expected it to be, and no more, no less.
But were you expecting the extent of the commentary, which I agree is not subtle, but there's a lot.
I don't find the commentary interesting, though. Just like the same way with Poor Things, I also didn't find that commentary to be interesting either.
I think Poor Things is a whole different story.
It's a
I think
different story, but it's still, to me, it's still Yorgos doing his same thing of using Emma Stone as his little weird marionette doll to try to speak to his rumblings about nihilism that
mm,
are going on in his own head through the marionette hands of a very strangely directed Emma Stone performance that involves her getting brutalized in some way. And I just find it
mm.
kind of boring. I can't explain it. Like, it just, I have so little patience for it. Like 15 minutes in, I was like, oh, here we go again. 30 minutes, I was like, okay, so this is going to keep on. But when you get to the reveal at the end, I'm like,
Yeah, again, I agree that the review was
okay.
predictable.
And I don't mind me kind of knowing where you're going to, but when that moment comes, it needs to hit. And when the
Mm,
moment comes, when she's like, she jumps out of the ambulance and she starts running, I'm like,
mm.
okay. I would have honestly preferred if they shown us more of the alien world, how they
Yes, I
organize
agree with that.
themselves.
I
I would have
agree
been
with
more
that.
interested in that.
Absolutely. I think another reason why I like the movie is I went into it knowing that she's going to turn into an alien, so I was waiting for that penny to drop as well. However, I came to the conclusion around maybe 75% of the way in that I no longer care about whether she is going to be an alien or not. And the reason why is because Lanthimos had and Emma Stone had sufficiently convinced me that either way, Emma Stone is an alien. What I mean by that is the callousness of the character. I think that was when the antifreeze thing happened as well. The way how she was able to do that with such a callous, unapologetic, ruthless approach. And it wasn't even for survival because notice that she didn't actually try to escape the house when that happened. So when Teddy goes to attempt to save his mom, she had a whole bunch of time to get out of the house and she didn't bother. And that was when I knew for a fact that she was an alien.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes, actually. I was wondering what the hell was going on there.
that was the
Like,
proof that
why,
she
yeah,
doesn't
why
care.
they were using that narratively. Yeah.
But for me, at that point, I'd already concluded that the reason why she's an alien, the reason why she's not fully human is because of how evil and how callous she is. And they'd successfully convinced me of that at that point. So that's when I started to give the movie more credit than I otherwise would have.
Doesn't that almost kind of, even, to be honest, like subvert Yorgos's point though? Clearly Yorgos is a
What do
person
you
who
mean?
feels a strong level of dislike for the amount of rot that humanity's worst instincts has done on our planet, on our ecosystem, and he has a somewhat nihilistic point of view on humanity's continuous existence on this planet. That
Mm-hmm,
comment that she makes at the dinner table over the spaghetti about the bees, but it's clearly supposed to be showing you that she's an alien and she's talking
mm-hmm,
about humanity, where she's like, oh, maybe some species, like, they're just not meant to be here for long and they were always meant to be annihilated, and like that's
mm-hmm,
fine. I could practically see Yorgos Lanthimos controlling Emma Stone's jaw to be saying those words, because that was just clearly coming from, it felt like a
mm,
director's point of view so straightforwardly to me. I got the same feeling in Poor Things when you have that character that's played by Gerard Carmichael, who is talking about how he has a nihilistic view of the world, so he just kind of just does whatever.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think this is a man that clearly feels this way about these topics, but to me, he doesn't present it to me in an artistically stimulating way. So it's a whole thing that there's been like bee collapse in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I just didn't care. Like, I don't know. I just didn't care about how he presented it to me. I think maybe this also thing that I am overexposed to the news and I'm overexposed to criticism and art and culture. So I've already seen all of these points of views before. I've already heard all of these arguments before. So I'm just like, what have you said to me and what's interesting about the way you showed it to me?
I
Nothing, in my
disagree.
opinion.
And I'm the same way. Like I literally go to debate groups every week to talk about these things. I
See here that
enjoyed
you've not seen
But I'm not,
before.
but notice that I'm not saying that he taught me anything. I'm saying that I
Mm,
enjoyed being taken on the journey. And that's the reason
okay.
why I find the commentaries around predictability and stuff like that. It's like you're missing the point. I think the whole point of the movie is to show us how, in an attempt to destroy your opponent, whether that's the alien in this circumstance or whether it's Teddy, there's a move that humanity likes to do a lot where you dehumanize the other person. And I enjoyed seeing that dialogue between the two groups throughout the movie and how you can see that the audience is supposed to shift their position throughout the movie, and I thought it was quite clever. Um, Another thing that
I
I
want to
liked
actually
about
follow up on
you
what
go
you
for it.
just said. I think that's a very important point you just made about it's kind of the whole concept that is she or is she not an alien is
It's
to
irrelevant.
introduce the metaphor that, like, you even wanting someone that you think is despicable to not be human so you can justify how you
Yeah.
treat them is like a bad instinct of
Yeah.
people. I understand that concept of what you just said. In my opinion, this film actually doesn't deliver it
Oh, I
properly because of the
disagree.
way it ends. Because it ends with basically confirming all of his craziest conspiracy theories. Now, I understand that the film needed to end with a bang, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have revealed she was an alien, but because I knew that was coming, and the way they then revealed it was in
Mm.
like, it's literally a flat earth. There's literally an alien species. They want to destroy the planet. They're all giant bubble people.
Mm.
To me, how actually don't you read that as them saying that you don't actually need to hold any real humans responsible? Like, you
Mm.
can let your imagination run as crazy as you want. And
There's one very important scene
almost,
to address this, though.
al- almost giving a permission structure for the weird continued fetishization of violence towards characters played by Emma Stone that this man keeps on doing. It's just very
But again,
suspicious
I
stuff for
find that
me.
interesting. It's not the first scene where this happens in the movie, and this is what I'm saying. It's actually the second time we see it. The first time we see it is when it's Teddy and he's torturing Emma Stone in the chair, and that's the first time we see proper like grotesque. Like I actually felt uncomfortable. Like damn, like this is a lot. Where Emma Stone is being tortured in the chair, right? And the whole point of that scene, and the reason why I like it, even though again it's violence against Emma Stone or women on the big screen, is because the whole point here is to convince the audience or for the audience to decide for themselves, do you consider her an alien that's coming to destroy people, and therefore is the violence he's doing justified? That's the first time we see it. And then obviously at that point people are supposed to feel sorry for her, right? Then the second time we see it at the end, we see that actually she's an alien, so you're supposed to shift your perspective again. That's what I'm saying. The movie's doing some clever things.
But
Whether or
we
not people
always knew
receive it
she
is
was
different.
an alien. Does it work if you always knew she was an
We knew she
alien?
was always an alien. I don't know that everyone will. But again, whether or not she is it's basically irrelevant for me for this movie.
I just strongly disagree with you on this movie. It's always very interesting when we disagree. I think I am so polar opposite to you in your perspective on this film. But I enjoy that you have a different
Yeah.
opinion. And I enjoy that you've unmasked yourself as a yoga stan. We
I'm not a
will
stan.
we will work with this understanding moving forward. I will say I have one or two positive things to say about the film, which is that the actual, not the cinematography, because I actually don't care for the cinematography, but the
Yeah.
actual, whatever technical camera they used, the actual literal image quality of the shots I thought was quite nice. That's, I think, the only positive thing I can say about this film. I really did hate this film. It might be, is it my least favorite movie of the year? But we'll get into that.
I have a couple more comments to make, both positive and negative.
Go
So
for it.
you already discussed Jesse Plemons, but I want to highlight that I thought his performance was excellent. I'm a massive Jesse Plemons fan. I've seen him in so many different movies. He's in a number of my favorite movies, actually, including I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I really loved Killers of a Flower Moon, The Power of the Dog. I love this guy. And I completely lost track of him. Like towards the end of it, I didn't even recognize him as Jesse Plemons. That scene where Michelle is basically emotionally torturing him, and this is after he's killed his mom, basically, and she laughs at him in his face and says, look, you're so stupid, you humans are so, embarrassing. And the way he just cowers after being quite manipulative and abusive throughout the movie, I thought it was excellent. I want to
I
see
thought
him
that was
nominated for
good.
lead actor. Like, I'm really irritated that people are not speaking
I
about his
wouldn't go
performance.
that far. Would he be considered lead or supporting though? But I wouldn't go
Lead
that
actor.
far. But I agree, I did enjoy seeing him cower like that. I don't know if I felt like he fully disappeared into the role, but compared to the rest of the cast, which I wasn't very gagged by them, he
Mm.
was to me very clearly the best performer.
I
I
do
do
want to
agree.
highlight one other cast member though. That is Aidan Delbus. He plays Don. So I wasn't sure about his backstory or, because I've never seen him act in anything before. I did a bit of digging and it turns out that he's autistic himself and he's part of a program to support actors who are neurodivergent. And I think this is one of his first big projects. And I think he did a really good job. I'm really, really happy for him. I will say Emma Stone's performance was good, but it wasn't excellent. I think it's a step down not only from Poor Things but also Kinds of Kindness. Actually, I thought the performance was quite flat.
There were times where I was like, is it intentionally being flat? And is that like the point here? Because she's playing this
Mm,
person who every word that comes out of her mouth is a rehearsed, briefing notes
mm,
or media statement. But I think Nicole Kidman is doing something similar in Baby Girl, but her
Hmm.
performance feels more interesting.
Yeah, but she's a human. She's a human. She's not an alien. So I agree with you. I didn't love the performance, but there could be justifications for it.
Well, yes, you're going to justify your Ghost's choices as a director because you're a stan. Of
A couple,
course.
a couple more things on the technicals. I was really excited by the trailer because of how it looked. I thought it looked very beautiful, but I found the movie to be disappointing when it came to cinematography. We do get some.
Hmm.
I enjoyed the font. Like, I love the font. I would actually like him to produce that as something we could
I
use. I
love the
loved it.
font. Hmm.
But in terms of the shots, I don't know. I think it's because we spent so much time in that bunker. I wasn't impressed. I felt like this was like quite a big step down from a number of his recent movies, actually. I also think that Lanthimos was trying to be safe because obviously he had so much success with Poor Things. Kinds of Kindness was not received very well. I think a lot of people were not prepared for the anthology structure, and in general, people just didn't like it. So I think he wanted to be safe with this movie. I do feel like this is him on his best behavior. And actually, I think in the process of him doing that, we lost some of his flair.
I definitely agree. In films like The Favorite and Poor Things, whatever criticisms I could have of them, they're doing a lot more interesting things cinematographically.
Yeah.
I was like, I gave it some grace in saying that maybe the film is supposed to make you feel a bit claustrophobic because you're
Mm.
supposed to be in Teddy's mind to some degree and just be so eaten up with guilt and hate and anger and this rabbit hole you've sunk into. So you're not supposed to be viewing the world as this beautiful and fascinating place. Like, I tried to give it that grace. So for that reason, I'm not going to harp too much on the cinematography. But yeah, I found it to be like a beauty-free film. Like
Fair.
in the famous words of Gia Gunn, where is the glamour? It wasn't gorgeous
Yeah,
at
it
all for
wasn't
me.
giving.
But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe it's not every film that's supposed to be gorgeous. The font is gorgeous, like you said, and it's cool
Yeah.
and it's alien. So maybe
Yeah.
that's what's supposed to be jarring about it. The world of Teddy is supposed to feel flat, and the alien world is supposed to feel strange. But even the alien world, it was giving some studio that was,
Yeah.
designed by some kind of
You
prop
could have done better.
designers
Yeah, I
in
agree.
Hollywood.
I agree.
Girl, give us
And we
some
got
more
like 5 minutes
glamour.
of it. Yeah. One final comment from me is on the score. Very controversial. A lot of people don't like the score. I loved it.
I
I
hate
love
it.
the score. Look, it's nothing new. We've seen this from a Lanthimos movie before. Poor Things has a very similar score, I would say. It just maybe a bit more fantastical, whereas this one is more alien oriented. I thought it added to the drama, it added to the weirdness. It would pipe up at the most random times. I enjoyed it.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I found it irritating, discombobulating, jarring, not in a good way, in a good ooh, you're unsure, and that makes you on end and edge in a very exciting way. But in a can someone stop this right now before I walk out of this theater? That's
Mm.
actually how I was feeling. I could not stand it. I
The
hated the
fan
sound editing in general.
yeah,
My
fair
God, I
enough.
sound like such a hater.
The fact that this movie is a remake, as you can tell, a lot of my positive commentary around this movie is because of the underlying themes. Now, this is not an original movie, right? So I don't know how much of that I can credit to Lanthimos' team. The other thing to add to that is that in the original Korean movie, Save the Planet, the alien is a man. So again, this is Lanthimos making a deliberate choice to cast Emma Stone so that he can do his, weird stuff that we've already alluded to. Des, what would you give Bugonia out of 10?
On Letterboxd, I had given this movie 1.5 stars, which would be a 3 out of 10.
Wow.
But upon reflecting on it and thinking about it more, I actually want to downgrade that to a 2 out of 10. So actually just 1 star out of 5,
Mm-hmm.
because as we've had this conversation, I realized that this film has no saving graces for me. There is not actually anything about it I truly love or really like. The reason it's getting that 1 star, not obviously zero, is because in terms of literally putting a production together, it is of course very high end, proper studio production, and the Jesse Plemons performance is quite good.
Mm.
I have nothing else positive to say about the film, though. Nothing.
So I'll give Begonia 6 out of 10. It's not my favorite movie of all time. I had issues with it as well. Again, I don't like this recurrent theme of women being abused for Lanthimos' pleasure or directing, experience. I don't care for it. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I'm not a Lanthimos fan usually. I'm still very angry with him about Poor Things. But I think this was a somewhat 20% redemption from Poor Things. I'll be watching out for other, work from him. I enjoyed the journey it took me on, honestly. Does Begonia pass the Bechdel test?
My first answer to that is no. However, I know the answer is actually yes, because she
Yeah.
speaks to her co-workers
Yes.
about work.
Mm-hmm. Then
My
again, is she a woman?
Oh, stop it. Stop. Not you doing this again. The same thing you did for Together, where you wanted to deny that poor combination humans,
Gender.
female parts. You're trying to do this again just because this being might be of less than Homo sapiens origin. Stop it. The character is clearly a female character in how they're presented to us. Well, I can't say about the end if that their
I don't
society
know
is
about
even
that.
gendered at all. But the character of Michelle is a female character.
Is she?
Yes, she is. If you
If
no,
we assume that
no,
Michelle, if we
stop
assume
it,
that Michelle
stop
is
it.
a woman, then yes,
Yes.
Bugonia passes the Bechdel test. But once again, it's one of those movies that it passes by the skin of its teeth. This movie
It's
doesn't
not.
have anything to say about gender.
Oh, okay, yes, of course, of course. And after those conversations with her co-workers in the beginning, do two women even ever talk in this film at
No,
all? Because she
no,
never interacts with Teddy's mom or anything
no.
like that. Okay.
Actually, no, she does because
I
Teddy's mom is asleep or in a coma,
Wait,
whatever it is.
I forgot there is one good thing. All the strange, beautiful, haunting iconography of the mom,
Yeah.
both that syringe scene and the scene where he's getting the like apology from the company and he's holding his mom almost like a kite or like a balloon above him. I thought that was absolutely stunning. That was very
Mm.
beautiful. So I will give it that.
Okay.
And it definitely it was the closest thing to convincing me about feeling empathy or sympathy for this character that something so devastating had happened to him. Otherwise,
Mm.
I didn't care. I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think it was those scenes that sold it for me. We touched on Emma Stone. I think this is an appropriate time to bring it up. We've already hashed it out that we're not a fan of Lanthimos consistently casting this woman in movies and doing all sorts of debaucherous things to her on screen for his weird movie, preferences. However, Emma Stone is clearly making a deliberate choice to continue working with this man. In Poor Things, she literally plays literally, I hate that movie so much. She plays a woman in an adult's body with a baby's brain engaging in sex work. And in this movie, in Kinds of Kindness, she does all sorts of crazy stuff. In this movie, she's playing an alien who gets quite viciously tortured halfway through the movie. And it begs the question, why is Emma Stone doing this? And I think the reason why is because people almost seem to be saying to her, Emma Stone, go back to playing the pretty little girl, love interest. I've even seen people say, go back to playing normal women. So what if Emma Stone is tired of playing those boring roles? Because on this podcast, we talk about how so many of these roles are so boring. So what if she wants to do something a bit different? It makes sense, right?
I'm so happy you said that. I have a simple answer for you. Go work with some female filmmakers.
That's a
Go.
good point.
The
That's a good point.
Substance came out last year. Baby
Facts.
Girl came out last year. Both of them were directed by women, and they had actresses, including some actresses that Hollywood had left behind, like a Demi Moore, playing some of the most interesting, weirdest things we've seen on prestige film in a while. Go work with them. You don't have to keep on working with this same weirdo man over and over again. These women exist. Nia DaCosta just
Yeah.
directed Tessa Thompson. Go and work with the woman. Do it. What's stopping you? You are a two-time Oscar winner or at least nominee for Best
Mm.
Actress. You have more leverage than almost anybody else in your industry to work with almost anybody you want. I'm not saying she doesn't still face a lot of the limitations women do in her industry. She does, but compared to a lot of women, you actually can throw your weight around quite a lot.
Agree.
Pick one of them, go make something weird, strange, and cool with them. Produce it yourself if you want to.
I will
I'm
say
tired
though,
of seeing you doing strange stuff with this man.
those movies are weird in a different way though, right? Baby Girl's weird because of the power dynamics, but it's still a very traditional feminine presentation. In this movie, she looks wild. She looks absolutely wild. And I can see that she enjoys it. She's spoken about how she enjoys it. She's a weirdo.
I don't know
Let her
if
be
she
weird.
lost additional weight for the role and that's what made her eyes bug out so much, or if she was doing it on purpose. But I was taken aback by how bug-eyed she looked in the film in like a cool, weird way. Again, I will continue to push back on the concept that if she wants to be weird, that's why she's doing this. You can be weird with many. There's a bunch of filmmakers you and I have never heard of before that are doing weird stuff, just waiting to be discovered. Go and discover them.
Yeah. The one thing I will say though is for when it comes to Emma Stone, I don't really care that much. If she likes it, I love it. But when it comes to Jesse Plemons, that's a very serious actor. I need Yorgos Lanthimos to release him. Like I'm actually getting tired of seeing Jesse Plemons working with. No, I'm getting tired of seeing him working with Lanthimos. Like, let him go and do some serious movies now.
No, you say you don't really give a damn like Emma that much, but that you actually want to see you want to see Jesse be great.
That's my baby. Do you know how many movies he's in that I love?
I do like him a lot, but I was kind of terrified by him in this movie. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but when you watch it, you will understand why you're just disturbed looking at him on screen.